It's a truly bizarre story and one that is getting very little coverage across the country. Food processing plants have been catching fire and have been destroyed over the past year. In fact, these fires began showing up regularly in the news after a fire closed a Tyson Foods meat processing plant in Kansas. The location was a primary beef processing location for the company and the U.S. supply chain, providing about 6% of all U.S. beef. Shortly after that fire, there was talk that the meat supply in the U.S. could be affected. These are just a couple of examples. In all, there have been 16 of these cases. In February, Scherer's food processing plant in Hermiston, Oregon burned down, leaving 2 employees injured. On April 13th, Taylor Farms food processing plant in Salinas, California burned and prompted evacuations. On April 19th, the headquarters of the Azure Standard Food Processing Plant in Defer, Oregon also burned. What seems to be happening right now is, beyond coincidence, a series of accidents and fires and damages at food processing plants in a moment where we're being warned that there is going to be a shortage of food supplies.
For more money from Congress for this vaccine campaign and for COVID funding going into the fall, how much of the supply of vaccines for these small children is there, and how many of the nation's kids will you be able to get vaccinated before you need more money from Congress?
Well, we'll get through at least this year. We do need more money, but we don't just need more money for vaccines for children eventually. We need more money to plan for the second pandemic. There's going to be another pandemic. We have to think ahead. And that's not something the last outfit did very well. That's something we've been doing fairly well. That's why we need the money.
Well, farmers in the Netherlands have been protesting, and it's not getting much coverage. So first of all, why are they protesting? They're upset with quote-unquote environmental rules, where their government restrictions would require farmers to use less fertilizers and reduce their livestock numbers, which could force some farmers to shut down. The Dutch government wants to reduce emissions of nitrogen oxide and ammonia, which are produced by livestock, by 2030. Cuts could reach 70% in some areas under the plans. Interesting agenda the government has. So politicians that couldn't farm or feed you to save their lives are making crazy restrictive rules to stop farmers who do feed you from making a living and doing their job. Hey kids, we're gonna save the environment, just follow us, the same corrupt people who, lie to you about everything and try to steal your money. Yeah, this will really fight the climate if we just destroy farms. Do people really not get it yet?
And they've been doing the same thing to American farmers for years now. Pay attention. If you want more comments about this synthetic shortage, fake attack, go below.
They say it's a matter of time, 1,000 days and the sun won't shine before I come back to you. And I'm happy, nothing's going to stop me. I'm making my way home, I'm making my way. For your love I will go far, I wanna be wherever you are. I know I'm coming back.
Water tested the rain. 13,100 micrograms per liter of aluminum in the rain in 2013. Normally it should be 0. So 13,100 is pretty damn much, folks. It used to be 0, then it was 100s in the 2000s, and then since 2010 it's into the 1000s and the latest 13,100. In the snow on Mount Shasta, pristine Mount Shasta, 61,000 feet, 8,000 foot level, 61,000 micrograms per liter, 4 times the amount that is found in the soil up there. Where in the hell is this stuff coming from if it's not coming from the soil? These tests are international in scope. We're seeing this all over the world, guys. Okay, pH of acid soils is 20 times more alkaline. The aluminum in the soil has doubled.
Well, what do we have here? The president of a European pharmaceutical company has been arrested and charged for falsifying his vaccine status. He was injected with saline. He is among 2,200 European elites charged with being falsely vaccinated against COVID-19. Why? Apparently he was afraid of the jab. The elites paid thousands to be added to the immunization register. Apparently a vast network of celebrities and elites also paid money to have their names fraudulently entered onto the National Immunization Register. How interesting that the president of a pharmaceutical company doesn't trust this one. I wonder if they were among all the people screaming that masks and vaccines save lives. And that's just 2,200 people from one country. Didn't Dougie's daughter say that Doug Ford's not vaccinated? Wonder who else is on the list.
Way beyond the annoyance of, missing your suitcase or having to stand in a line, because what we are actually talking about is it could cost a lot of people their lives, because we're talking actually about a safe flight, which may no longer be the case. Because what happened was that a lot of pilots that did not want to get vaccinated had been laid off. And the ones that did get vaccinated, because they had families to feed, a mortgage to pay, all of these things to take care of, may now no longer be fit to fly. And that is a problem, and to the globalist elites, it must be a shocker. Can you imagine? First, people are being forced to get a vaccination to only then find out that it might actually be the dumbest thing they ever did. Way beyond the annoyance of,
Sustainable. What do you say to those families who say, listen, we can't afford to pay $4.85 a gallon for months, if not years. This is just not sustainable.
Well, what you heard from the president today was a clear articulation of the stakes. This is about the future of the liberal world order, and we have to stand firm.
Sustainable. What do you say to those families who say, listen, we can't afford to pay $4.85 a gallon for months, if not years. This is just not sustainable.
Well, what you heard from the president today was a clear articulation of the stakes. This is about the future of the liberal world order, and we have to stand firm.
Sustainable. What do you say to those families who say, listen, we can't afford to pay $4.85 a gallon for months, if not years. This is just not sustainable.
Well, what you heard from the president today was a clear articulation of the stakes. This is about the future of the liberal world order, and we have to stand firm.
Sustainable. What do you say to those families who say, listen, we can't afford to pay $4.85 a gallon for months, if not years. This is just not sustainable.
Well, what you heard from the president today was a clear articulation of the stakes. This is about the future of the liberal world order, and we have to stand firm.
Sustainable. What do you say to those families who say, listen, we can't afford to pay $4.85 a gallon for months, if not years. This is just not sustainable.
Well, what you heard from the president today was a clear articulation of the stakes. This is about the future of the liberal world order, and we have to stand firm.
Sustainable. What do you say to those families who say,
Congress shall now vote for approval of H.R. 8791, the Homeland Terrorism Preparedness Bill. Said bill requests emergency response funding up to and including, this section is classified, dollars to prepare for a national level terrorist attack and or attack from classified. Funding for first responder personnel and vehicles would be doubled if said attack leads to more than 80% of national population being affected by classified. This funding shall commence in conjunction with the first attack on classified or the first large-scale outbreak of classified, dependent upon which comes first. Civilian and military units shall be trained in containment and combat of classified, including irradiated classified with possibility of classified airborne, classified flesh-eating, classified, and or all of the above in such event as classified spewing, classified escape are released or otherwise become uncontrollable. Air Force units may also be directed to combat said classified due to their enormous size and otherworldly strengths. Should event occur in urban areas, that's classified, far surpassing our darkest nightmares. Should casualties exceed classified body disposal actions shall be halted and associated resources shall be reallocated to classified underground, classified protected birthing centers. A new Bill of Rights shall be drafted and approved by classified. Having now reviewed the bill, I ask...
This is something new that Delta and a company called Misapplied Sciences have done at the Detroit airport. You scan your boarding pass, and then you look up at the board, and it will show you some instructions about, there we go, So my flight is to the right. And the cool thing about it is you can have up to 100 people inside this box. And they all see something different on the monitor because it's watching your location, seeing what direction you're looking, and everybody sees something different. Pretty crazy technology. It's from a startup. New version's coming soon, but it's here at the Detroit airport in the Delta terminal. If you want to try it yourself.
So I want to nip this right in the bud right now. One of my followers made the comment and said that, bro, you know you can't detox mRNA, right? No, wrong. So that's false. I've been doing extensive research on mRNA gene therapies, and I've discovered you can, in fact, detoxify your bloodstream. So first of all, mRNA stands for messenger ribonucleic acid. This ribonucleic acid is encased in a lipid nanoparticle. That helps it deliver it into your bloodstream, and it allows it to stabilize because mRNA alone is super unstable. So they had to envelop it in that nanoparticle. And now in combination, that nanoparticle in the spike protein of SARS-CoV-2 is now being injected into the body. So, and it's targeting your bloodstream. So that is the main issue. You have to detoxify your blood because that's what they are attacking. And that's what they always try to attack, the blood and the bloodline of the people, because the blood has the DNA, it has the cellular memory, and they want to destroy and corrupt that. Now, with all that being said, all things in this world can be broken down into atoms and so on, from atoms to protons to neutrons to electrons to quarks. Okay. Your body will heal itself from anything if you create the proper environment to do so. So that's why I created my blood detox blend, because that's going to help clear it all up. So we got to talk about this. Okay. So this article was posted yesterday. In it, it says healthy young people are dying suddenly and unexpectedly from a mysterious syndrome. So they say doctors are puzzled by this sudden death syndrome that's happening, not only in infants, but now in high, massive amounts in adults. And the article goes on further to state that all the issues are dealing with the cardiovascular area and region, the heart. Now, if you watch this video, go look at it if you haven't. But I told you the exact cause of the hepatitis outbreak, and it's the same cause that's causing sudden arrhythmic death syndrome, or SADS for short. It's the...
I'm still a nurse, but I was fired from Houston Methodist. I'm the one you might have seen all over the news. We were the first one mandated with the COVID shot. So I blew it up on the national media. We have a huge state and federal lawsuit because we didn't want to be guinea pigs. We saw for ourselves in the hospital people coming in with adverse reactions after getting the Pfizer shot. And the crazy thing is let me tell you a couple things about Methodist Hospital down in Houston, Texas. When they first started with COVID, I did that COVID unit on and off the whole time till they fired me in June, right? They started the first 2 months with hydroxychloroquine. They actually used it in the hospital. Then they cut it back real quick, switched it to...
His agency actually trained Bat Lady to do these types of research things in Wuhan. I mean, they brought her to America, North Carolina, and they trained her there. The media has blown the biggest story of the 21st century. It's a once in 100-year pandemic, killed millions of people, changed all of our lives. A year later, they're getting around to figuring out where it came from, while conservatives on social media knew the whole time because they followed the facts. I mean, they blew Epstein and Weinstein and Trump 2016, the Cuomo scandals, the crime wave. What else? The laptop from hell was a blueprint for Biden family crimes. They care more about what flavor Gatorade he drinks. I had a friend, Katie, who used to say, I assume everyone I meet is a pedophile, and then I work back from that assumption. Now every time I see something in the mainstream media, I assume it's wrong, and I work back from that assumption. Because when they say something is a conspiracy theory, it just means a theory they disagree with. When they say something is debunked, it hasn't been debunked at all. They just get triggered when someone besides the legacy media breaks news or pursues a story that they disagree with. And then they try to tell everybody it's fringe. It's not fringe. His agency actually trained Bat Lady